I used to work as a radio DJ in southern Ohio, not far from Cincinnati. I had the crappy late night show with maybe 5 listeners put together. I played of oldie music like stuff from the 60s and 70s and 80s. Most of the people that listened to me were over the road truckers that were driving through and just would call in to shoot the shit and request songs to, get them through the long nights. One of them, Randy, was a regular caller, and he always had a funny story to tell and would often request older music from the 60s. One night it was getting late and it was a pretty slow night. It was about 1:30 a.m. and out of boredom I asked my callers to call in and tell me about a time they had something strange happen to them. A few people called in. They weren't unusual stories, just your run-of-the-mill stories of deja vu, being in the right place at the right time, and then Randy called. "Hey man, how you doing tonight, Randy?"
Oh, hey there, KJ. Boy, do I have a story for you.
he said in a deep southern accent. "Well, you have reached the place to tell it."
Well, there's one of those stories that are life-changing in a way. It happened when I was about 16 and worked at a hotel my uncle managed, and I helped by running errands, cleaning rooms, taking out the garbage, and doing laundry. Well, this one night, some lady comes in, and she is older, with dyed hair, only it's dyed jet black except for a white streak. She had on makeup, but it's nearly white, and she had ruby red lipsticks that is smeared on the corners of her mouth. Her eyes were all done up in jet black eyeliner and thick mascara. Like a corpse, she had so much makeup on. Well, I only noticed her because she had this bright green suit on and carried this bright pink suitcase. She had insisted on only staying in room number 6.
"Number 6? As in 666?" I asked, chuckling.
Well, maybe. I honestly don't know. Well, my uncle had given me the key to go make sure the room was ready, so that meant I had to run out and check to make sure it had clean bedding and that the garbage had been emptied. Well, when I got to the room, there was some trash in the wastebasket, so I took it to the dumpster to dump it out. I wasn't paying attention to my surroundings, and after I emptied the garbage, I turned around and that crazy lady with the messy lipstick and green suit was just standing there looking at me. She had these cold black eyes, and I had not noticed them before. She put out her arm and began pointing at me. I just stood there looking at her with my mouth gaping. Then she said something weird. She said, "You have an appointment at midnight." Well, I looked at her and she slowly turns and walks away back towards the room and shuts the door. Before she does, she points at me again. This time just smiling with that crooked red grin of smeared lipstick.
"Wow, now that is a weird story for sure," I said, shaking my head.
Oh, it gets better. Well, that night, I get home and I go to bed and it's roughly 11:30 or so. I'm drifting off to sleep and suddenly, my legs feels like they're burning. I sit up in my bed and I look at the corner of the room. There's this weird shadowy figure just standing there. I can't make out what it looks like, but it starts to cackle. It reaches out its hand, and before I know it, it's morning again. Must be the strangest thing that has ever happened to me, and I swear I have never been the same. I think it put a curse on me. Everything in my life always ends, or people die. There are times I feel like it takes possession of me. I don't know what to say. That's the strangest thing that has ever happened to me.
I sat for a long while and then paused. Well, thank you, Randy, for sharing your experience. We have to go to a commercial now. I sat there and got ready for my next caller to call in. The commercial was over, and then it was time to take the next call. Hi, this is KJ, your late night host with the most unusual story for you tonight. Who's next? Welcome, caller. You are on the air. I sat and waited and didn't hear anything at first, just some breathing. It was heavy and sounded as though whoever was on the other line was either sick and having trouble breathing or was snoring. Hello? Caller, you are next. Again, nothing, so I hung up the phone and picked up the next call. Hi, this is KJ, your late night host with the most unusual stories for you tonight. Who's this? Welcome, caller, you are on the air. I waited, and again, there was nothing, just some wheezing or heavy breathing. I wasn't sure what was going on, so I hung up the phone. I saw my technical assistant, Troy, walk by and he looked in. Everything okay, man? He asked. Not sure, I mouthed, holding up my hands. He looked at the telephone, and then, out of nowhere, the building lost all power. Even the generator was not working. I had no idea what was going on, so we both found flashlights. He tried to see if there was a reason for the malfunction, and just as he was getting ready to investigate, the power came back on. This time, almost all the phone lines had someone waiting on the line. This has never happened. I looked at Troy and he at me, and then I apologized on the air for the malfunction, and then took the next caller. I looked up at the clock and it read 3:36 a.m. I only had an hour and a half to go.
Hey there, KJ. Randy here again. Is everything okay? That was really weird.
Oh, hi, Randy. Thanks for the concern. So, after your last story, you got anything else for us? It seems like all the other callers are sleeping out there, I said, noticing all the other calls dropped when I picked up the call from Randy. I felt tired suddenly, and the air seemed to go out of the room. I took a drink from my coffee and sighed.
Oh my, yes! So many stories to tell, but only one I can think for you, my dearest KJ.
His voice sounded as though he was doing a very bad impression of a grandma. I held in my chuckle. This is going to be good. Oh, really? What kind of stories do you have, Randy?
Randy? Randy? Randy is no longer with us. Us is very scared for poor Randy. Us has a message for you.
I was holding my mouth to muffle the laughter I was about to burst into. This is hilarious. So, tell me, what's this message?
You have an appointment with the master very shortly.
Oh, this is going to be amazing for ratings tomorrow. I smiled, but I was on the edge of unease. Randy has never called in and acted so odd. I mean, I didn't know him personally, but he always seemed like a guy who wouldn't just call up and pretend to be a demon. I took a few more calls, and then at exactly 5 a.m., I got off the air and hurried to my car. Well, I knew it was probably theatrics, but it was still creepy. I got into my car and drove home. At the time, I lived alone, and I had a quick bite to eat, showered, and went to lay down. I was lying in my bed when I slowly began to doze off. It was completely dark in my bedroom. I had one of those shades that blocked out the sun so I can get a bit of shut-eye before I had to get up and do it all over again. I was just drifting slowly off when I felt my lower half burn. At first, I thought I just had an itch, so I scratched my leg to kill that burn. It slowly got hotter and more painful. Out of the corner of my eye, I saw it. There was a shadow slowly moving towards me in my bed. I sat frozen, unable to move, and it began to cackle. It was cackling and slowly glided in my direction. And then I saw these dark eyes that were darker than the night itself. I reached over to the bedside and turned on my lamp, jumping out of my bed, looking around for anything in the room. Eventually, I fell asleep on my couch. I didn't hear from Randy again after that night. I only worked as a DJ for that station a few more weeks before I quit. The pay wasn't worth it, and I had this constant uneasiness working there at night. I was never one for believing the paranormal, but that experience was odd, to say the least. I have had some odd experiences over the years working in radio, and if I think of any other crazy stories, I will write them out. I just hope I never meet the acquaintance or whatever that thing was in my room. And I hope that if you are out there, Randy, I hope that you're safe. That was The Night a Demon Called My Late Night Radio Show by K.B. Hurst. Links to her website and links to her book, Wicked William, now available on Amazon, and links to the original story can be found in the description down below. Thank you for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe to this channel and hit that notification bell to ensure that you don't miss out on me performing more creepypastas and other horror stories. Why not leave me a comment and let me know what story you would like me to cover next? If you prefer to listen to these stories on the move, in the car, at the gym, or when you're about to sleep, you can check out the audio podcast version of Storytime with Grax on all the major podcasting platforms, including Spotify, Google Podcast, iTunes, and more. I post these videos out every week for free, and I love doing so. But for those who would like to support my work, I really do appreciate it. Details on how to support me, including my Patreon account, can be found in the description down below. All these details, including where to find me on social media, can be found in the description down below. Thanks again for watching, and pleasant dreams.